This is a Fox News Alert. Thank you for watching Smith this evening. We appreciate all of you all watching. We have a great show for you all this evening. I know many of you guys have been eagerly awaiting when we come back, but I know I've been kind of taking a break these last couple of days. But welcome to Smith Tonight. We have a ton of news for you all this evening, so please share the stream, share the video as well, rewatch it, share on Twitter and online, because we do appreciate all of you guys watching. So we have a packed show for you all this evening. Let's go ahead and get right into this because, I mean, just a bunch of news today. So first off, I want to start with this Fox News Alert that we did just kick off. Breaking news. Impeachment articles are thinking about being introduced after this whole CBS scandal that is going on right now. The Democrats are having I believe there is a press conference going on right now in the AP server. Speaker of the House's press conference regarding this situation. We're going to eagerly watch it as we get more information. But we might cut to that, we might not, depending on what we do. But we may or may not cut to that. We'll see. So we're going to watch that eagerly at this hour so we can see. But yeah, definitely impeachment articles. Definitely thinking about being introduced after this whole thing with CBS. Now we're gonna have our full panel today talking about this. I mean, this is a really breaking story, really out of this impeachment articles, but I believe they have been introduced and they are on the table now. So we are definitely looking at this right now, and we are going to get the latest news for you all at this hour regarding this. It's not going to make it past the House, in my opinion. It's not going to make it past that. I already know that. I mean, Obama even said himself earlier today during an earlier press briefing that he had at the White House. It's not going to make it past that, in my opinion. It's just not. So we're going to have all of our panel on that this evening. So please be sure to watch Smith Tonight. So I want to go ahead and just get into my opening statement regarding this, the impeachment, the things said by Xavier Crosby. And I know these are just some things that many of you guys have been watching. And I want to just talk about this. First off, what Xavier did, and I talked about this earlier on Fox and Friends, is his First Amendment right. He has every right to go out and say these things about the president and basically outright lies about his first family. Even though, in my opinion, I would never say something like that on my platform about the first family. Even though I don't think Obama's policies is in my favor. I don't really like his policies. He's a great guy, but I just don't like his policies. I would never go out and talk about his first family that way. I mean, what proof did Xavier Crosby have to say that Barack Obama was abusing his kids, his family? They were quote unquote abused. I mean, what proof did he have of that information? Now that's what I'm trying to find out. And I mean, he really needs to lose his job. Okay, that is where conspiracy theories and things start in journalism. Okay, we need to be holding journalists to a higher standard when it comes to these comments. Okay, these comments are, in my opinion, unacceptable. They shouldn't be acceptable. Okay, so really they're just really stupid comments. I mean, it's absolutely insane what's going on in this administration, what's going on and just really what's going on with news, period. Journalists have lost the kind of swag of not going into things like that. I mean, we've lost a filter, and I think that journalism today is going straight to really HE double hockey sticks to prevent demonetization. But it's going straight down under, and it's not where it needs to be. And I think that Xavier Crosby definitely crossed the line with that. And really not much my opening statement tonight because I want to get right to the news. But when we come back on Smith, we're going to bring in most likely, we're going to have tons of people. Okay, you guys know and love this guy. We're going to have Richard Montague on the show tonight. We're going to have Thomas Kirkman from the Department of the Treasury. Okay, I want to ask him about some taxes stuff because I want to know what this tax plan is going to be. I want to know what they're doing with the economy. I want to ask these questions because many of you watching are fiscal conservatives. I'm a fiscal conservative. So I want to know these things. I want to ask questions. Also, I'm going to have a great friend of mine from the Obama administration, Mikey H. Also, going to be asking him a question about the FCC as well today. Also going to have Dean Doherty from the FCC as well, the FCC commissioner. Also the head of my commission that I'm on as well. So we're gonna have Dean on. We're gonna have Dean. We're gonna have Mikey. We're gonna have Richard. We're gonna have Thomas. We're gonna have a whole bunch of people on today. We're gonna have an entire lineup of people today. So do not go anywhere. Smith will be right back. We're gonna have an entire panel of people discussing this Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, we're in the middle of our break, guys, and I want to just say something my producer just told me. We need to tune into the press conference now because I know many things are going on right now. So as I told you, it's going to be a busy news hour. So everyone in our call, stay in the call, please, because we're going to come back to you guys very quickly. We're all going to stay in this press briefing for a couple of minutes. So we're going to stay in this call, please, because we are going to come back to all of you today. So let's tune in to the Speaker of the House's press conference. This is audio only, so I do not have a video for you all. That is what they're telling me. So let us go ahead and tune in.
Close to being productive. Mr. Burke, he made great statements. We will not entertained by be entertained. My apologies. Be entertained by impeachment inquiries. The Republican Party has nothing else to do except to make meaningless accusations and meaningless actions within the House. They are irrelevant. I'm going to put it out. They are irrelevant within the House, and we will make sure they will be more irrelevant if they do continue forward with impeachment. I would like to address another issue, as Mr. Burke had stated. If there are any representatives within the Democratic Party who do decide to take, a stand for themselves and vote in the affirmative in any way, shape, or form on regards to these articles of impeachment, so help me God, hell will be unleashed amongst said representative. We will stop at nothing, and I mean nothing, to not let these articles of impeachment pass and get onto the House floor. This is a sham imposed by the Republicans, who are ignorant, who are disobedient, and are not even loyal to their own party. The Republican Party in the House is most likely going to go through another, how do I put it, civil war in response to said impeachment inquiries. They are nothing but a fraud. They are nothing but meaningless individuals within the House. And I do not say that on a personal level. I say that on a legislative level. They have done nothing for the House. The House leaders can, testify on my claims. And another thing I would like to address: if they think that that the Democratic Party within the House will somehow say it's okay that some Democrats will vote A on this bill because some Republicans voted A on the farmers package, we are not here to be bribed by Republican leaders. We are not here to kneel at the hands of the Republican Party. So let me make this clear. We, as Winston Churchill had said, we will never surrender. Thank you. I would like to pass it on to Mr. Gentry, if he's here.
Oh no, Mr. Preston. Mr. Preston is joining us.
Yeah.
Blackberry.
Okay. Thank you. So I would like to introduce one of my favorite. I wouldn't say favorite. Everybody's my favorite, but uh, one of my deputy whips who has been with me for a very long while, Mr. Nathaniel Preston.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and bring you that a little bit later. But we're going to go ahead and go back to our call right now with our friends right now. Now, I want to just bring them in over the phone at this hour since my team is telling me we don't have time to switch this out right now. So we did not do that during our break. But so, guys, let me know. What do you guys think about this press conference so far? They said it's going to be hell to pay. Hell will be unleashed on Democrats that vote for this impeachment of Barack Obama. I mean, what do you guys think about this? I mean, this is just really something. What's going on here, guys? I want to start with if you're here. Probably I don't know, maybe Dean. I don't know. Maybe Dean or Mikey. Dean, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Dean, tell me about this press conference. How do you feel about it? I mean, how do you guys feel about Democrats that are wanting to, or I mean, quote unquote, hell will be unleashed on Democrats that are going to vote for this impeachment?
Well, I haven't really had an opportunity to listen, but from what I've heard, I think it's absolutely ridiculous even thinking of impeaching the president. I don't think there's any need for it. And the people who have said that he should be impeached are, to be honest, just they're clearly not thinking of the bigger picture. They're just thinking of what's happening now. Like if we get a Republican presidency, if President Obama gets impeached and we have a Republican presidency, this country will go into ruin. So I think anyone who tries to impeach President Obama is just wrong in every way possible.
Yeah, okay. So I want to go ahead and get with some conservative perspective on this, and I want to talk to Zardovex, who is a Fox News correspondent and a political commentator for us. Zard, are you with me? Okay, he's not ready. Okay, we're gonna give him a couple minutes. Okay, so let's see anybody else. Mikey, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, what do you think about this impeachment?
I think it's flat out irrelevant. I feel like our economy needs to it's not striving, and I feel like the House should be focusing on our economy more or less some impeachment trial right about now.
Yeah, so I want to go ahead and go to Richard Montague, also a great friend of mine, a contributor here. What are your thoughts on this impeachment, Richard, and this conference? I mean, really, they're threatening Democrats, another, our conservative opinion here, Richard. I mean, what are your thoughts on? I mean, they're threatening Democrats that vote the Republican way, that are trying to impeach this president. What do you think about that?
I mean, we just heard it from McCarthy, Michael. Yeah, in his quote, I mean, straight from him, all hell will be released on Democrats who don't vote their way. Listen, we're just doing our civic duty as representatives elected our seats. There is a corrupt president in the Oval Office right now. And we're not just going to sit here and be like, oh, they have the supermajority, so we're not going to try to remove them. We're going to get them out. And even if it doesn't pass, we're letting the American people know that their voices will not go unheard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you think that it's really lawful and really good for them to be impeaching their own members in their own party for not voting their way?
It's awful. I would never. The Republican Party is a party that encourages free thinking. Michael, we both know this. I would never engage in any sort of language against members or, against representatives of my own caucus. And, I invite any representatives that feel unwelcomed by this language to send me a DM and we can have a discussion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is just absolutely insane what they're doing here. They're basically intimidating fellow members of their own caucus to vote their own way. And if they don't, I think they could easily be expelled. They could be disowned by their own party. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I mean, they are basically sat up here and intimidating members of their own party if they don't vote their way. And I don't see that happening in the Republican Party. You know, they always want to say that we're in disarray or we're not a straight up party. I mean, look at your own party. I mean, you're bickering in your own party. You can't stay together in your own party. I mean, you're having to basically threaten people to vote your way to get them to vote your way without any consequences. I mean, guys, this is just absolutely insane what's going on here. I mean, the Democrats ought to be ashamed of themselves, and I think Zarda is ready to discuss this more with me from our Republican view. Zarda, isn't this insane, really? I mean, they're threatening other Democrats to vote their way. What do you think about that, Zarda? Okay.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat the question?
Yeah, what do you think about Democrats intimidating its other members to vote in their way? I mean, it's just absolutely insane, intimidating them basically in the press conference call.
Yeah, I think it's just typical Democrats being Democrats. Honestly, I think we should. I think there should. Whoa. Apologies, I just had technical difficulties. I think there should be. There's people talking about how the Obama family is abusing their family. What about the Democrats that are abusing their caucus? I think there needs to be restrictions for that. Let's talk about that instead of Obama. Obama's innocent. He's not doing anything wrong. Democrats, they're abusing their caucus members. And I say we need to investigate this.
That's right. I think we need to investigate this. This was live on national television. I think a lot of networks saw this. I think we remain one that saw it. I mean, they are basically abusing their own members for not voting their way. This is just absolutely really shocking, really. The just immaturity going on there in the Democratic Party. And yeah, we're going to harp on this because Democrats like to harp on the Republican Party about how we're in quote-unquote disarray. We always have bickering, but it seems like from this call, there is bickering going on inside the Democratic Party of really their members not voting in the way that they need, to be voted. And it's absolutely insane what they're doing here. I think these Democrats are really dishonest. I think they're really bad people. Franklin Burke said that they're not going to put up with an impeachment inquiry by the Republicans. Now, what does that mean? And I want to ask you this, Zarda. I mean, what do you think Franklin Burke meant when he said, quote unquote, he's not going to put up with an impeachment inquiry? I mean, what does that mean? And I'm going to ask Richard that next. What do you think that means?
Oh, are you still talking to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was not paying attention. Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, what do you think that what Franklin Burke said? I mean, he said he would not put up with an impeachment inquiry by the Republicans. I mean, that's just straight up crap. I mean, what do you think he meant by that?
I really cannot read his mind. I really can't tell what he's thinking. But the American people ought to whip the Democrats in shape. I think a common term. We should grab him by the midterms and grab him by 2012 because what the Democrats are doing to this country is it's corrupt. It's blatantly corrupt, and it needs to be fixed and solved.
Blatantly corrupt indeed, and we're going to continue to talk about this throughout Smith and throughout the night on Fox. And again, what do you think about Richard? I mean, again, he's saying that he's not going to put up with an impeachment inquiry by Republicans. What do you think that means? Will he try to expel people? Will he try to convince people? Franklin Burke is just a despicable individual. Franklin Burke, and even in his own church community, I don't like the guy. He thinks he's better than someone. He thinks he's, black and educated, which I don't have a problem with that. But my thing is, you're basically snooting your nose to other people like you're better than someone. I just don't like the guy. He's not a very nice guy. I've never met a happy Democrat in the House or anything else. I've never met a happy Democrat. So let me know, what are your thoughts on that, Richard?
Franklin, he came to the House GOP press briefing today, and him and Noah McCain, both cowards and, big time losers. We both know, Michael. They asked stupid questions. Losers. You're right. And they came in, they asked stupid questions, and then they got removed. And they were butthurt about it. I mean, listen, you ask stupid questions, you get stupid answers.
Exactly. A lot of Democrats are just getting, butthurt about simple things going on in their own party. So yeah, definitely just some things that Democrats need to be checked on now. And I think that Noah McCain, Nathaniel Presley, or Francis McCarthy, Cameron Pence, Franklin Burke, all these people are just straight up 100% losers. They're losers. They're just puppets for Obama. They're idiots. You know, they're not great people. They're very dumb people. I think if you could put them on the wire, they'd float because they're so stupid. You know, I mean, these people need to go back to school or grade school or something because these people cannot comprehend basic language. These people are just, I mean, they can stand in the middle of the Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I think they'd be all right. So really, it's just really sad what's going on in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is not the same Democratic Party of 1980, of not Bill Clinton. It's not the same party of Al Gore. It's heck the same Democratic Party as Michael Dukakis or any of these candidates of the past or the last 30 to 40 years at all. It is a reform party. It is a party that is changing for the worst. It is a party that is going to the literal crapper in America. And Americans that want something different, for America, need to vote Republican. I want to say this again, and we're going to talk about this at CPAC 2009 on Friday, and that is, if you want something different for your country, if you want something new, if you want to try something new, and quote-unquote try something new, vote Republican. Vote red. Because we want people that are free thinkers and don't just follow the mouth of their government and don't just suck up for the government. We need people that are free thinkers. That's what we need in this country. So if you want something new, vote red. Vote red, and that's what we need. And I want to say it before we go on a break because and I'm going to have to bring everybody in here because we do have a lot of people here tonight. And I'm going to go back, and I'm probably not going to go back to that conference. But all I'm saying is, you can when we get back from break. All I'm saying is this. We actually, go ahead, Dean. Go ahead.
One thing that I'm going to touch on from what you said is I'm just going to start off with saying that I'm quite a proud Democrat. I've supported the Democratic Party, but a few representatives that you mentioned, like Mr. Preston, sorry, whose chief of staff I was before I worked under the Second Lady. Genuinely, these people have tried their best for this country.
They have not.
But I think there is a lot of things that just is like the press. Another thing is what I'm trying to help here is that a lot of the press, like, just because someone's a Democrat or just because someone's a Republican, they automatically have that bad view of them, which I think needs to stop because these people, they're still good people and they're still good politicians, but because they're labelled as a Democrat or because they're labelled as a Republican, that's one of the reasons why people just think they're a bad politician.
Us over every day. Every day they wake up, they're thinking about how to screw over the American people. They are career politicians.
Yeah, but
they are just
the Republicans aren't any different.
Well, they're different Republicans. They're different Democrats. And every time that they see a Republican Democrat, they get butthurt. And that's exactly what we're seeing in this impeachment. And that's exactly what we're seeing in many other different things. So these people are career politicians. They are liars and liberals, and they're just dishonest people. And we're gonna talk more about.
And
this.
so are the Republicans. I don't think there's one.
No. Some of our Republicans are, but a lot of us aren't liars or leakers. They're not liberals. You know, they are honest people.
You're telling me a Republican
has
never lied?
45 seconds left.
Or there aren't any lying Republicans.
You know, go ahead.
I just think there's no politician that doesn't lie. There's no politician that doesn't try and cheat the system. So I think the whole point about calling Democrats like liars and cheating politicians and career politicians, you're also talking about the Republicans because they're all politicians at the end of the day. Their job is at the end of the day is to make this country a better place, which some of them do an absolute shambles at. But I'm not like us talking about some Democrats and us also talking about some Republicans.
Yeah, definitely. More Smith have a break. And welcome back to Smith. There's a live view of our wonderful plaza here on 6th Avenue, Fox Square here in New York City. Welcome back to Smith. Thank you all for watching this evening. We do appreciate all of you guys watching. So I'm joined by Secretary Kirkman, who is Secretary of the Treasury. Now, I want to talk about something that my producers just told me a couple minutes ago, that Franklin Burke just called me out in the during the House press briefing. Come on my show. Come on my show. Because you're an idiot, you're a lunatic, and you're a liar. You're an idiot of a person. You're stupid. You're not giving Republicans a fair chance. You know, you're an idiot and you're an imbecile. That's what I have to say to Franklin Burke, because Franklin Burke is a career politician and he is an absolute idiot. Moving on to Secretary Kirkman. Kirkman, how are you?
Very well. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well. We're gonna move away from this conference for a couple of minutes because I know this is a lot. Okay, this is a lot. So I want to talk about something that's a little bit more lighter and more of my style as a fiscal conservative. So let's talk about the economy and the economy plan, things like that. So what is Obama's plan for the economy, the auto companies, things like that? Because the GM is really struggling right now, especially producing these '09 trucks, '09 cars. I mean, we're about to lose 2 car brands. We're about to lose Pontiac, Saturn. I mean, classic '90s car brands are about to disappear. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, yes, of course. The president and the Obama-Biden administration as a whole is working very hard to make sure that our 2 bills, for instance, the ARRA and the EESA, get passed, get approved by Congress and sent right onto the Resolute desk. That's what we're looking for right now. And that's mainly what our main objective is right now. Something that the president ran on, and something that obviously Joe Biden ran on as well, was to help fix the economic and financial recession. And that is exactly what these 2 bills will do. The ARRA, for instance, that is a sort of stimulus package. It will put money back into the American people's hands. The EESA, which was a bill that I proposed, and the president, he approved on it, of course. That is, well, in short, it could also be called a bank bailout type of bill that is at the moment, which is really also a big thing. I mean, as we're seeing there are redlining housing, there's housing issues, there's unemployment issues. Basically, everybody, or if it's not you, you most likely know somebody who's being affected by this economic recession. And what we want to do is we want to provide incentives for the American people and for the country as a whole to get back on track. One message that we're trying to send out is that our 2 bills that we're proposing here, they are merely a first step to our solutions to the financial crisis. As you know, as you just were saying, your statement, the automotive industry is really, it's in shambles, really. I mean, classic '90s car brands are about to go completely out of business. It's definitely something. It's something kind of unimaginable, really. And for that reason, we are trying to send the message again. It's a first step, it's not a final step, but what we're trying to say to the American people is have hope that change is coming, because we are working as hard as we can to make sure that these 2 bills are on the president's desk and can get signed into law.
Yeah, one question I have for you regarding that stimulus package and bill that you have, where is the money coming from?
Well, the money itself really, well, obviously, to start off, basically, the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act of 2009, that is a $700 billion troubled asset. It's a $700 billion bill. Obviously, that's a substantial amount of money. But really, it's coming straight out of the federal government, if you want me to be honest with you. And that's like the
So it's not
simplified
coming out
version,
of
of
any
course.
higher taxes on Americans. We're not
No.
increasing any tax. So we're just taking money out of just slush funds from the government, right? That's what we're doing.
In a way, yes. But one thing that I think is very important that we need to send the message out is that higher taxes to the American people, to the middle class, to the lower class, that is something that is not coming. And that is a firm no, that higher taxes to the middle and to the lower class, there is no chance of that happening. We are trying to crack down on those taxes and trying to lessen them. That goes along with minimum wage as well, of course. But
Okay. I want
as
to
you
talk
most
about that as
likely,
well, about minimum wage and that. But another thing about the
of course.
taxes is you would be increasing it on people like me in the upper class, people that are making well over the threshold to be in the upper class, correct? So basically people that are, I guess above upper middle class, correct?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I find it, as I've explained a few times, I find the simple phrase taxing the rich. I find it to be too much of a generalization. It doesn't break things down enough. Now, for instance, if you are a millionaire, upper class, of course, upper what 1%, you obviously have a substantial amount of money, and you have most likely worked for that money. Let me rephrase that. Um, if you
Yeah,
have
probably have
worked
worked for
for
the
your
money. Yeah.
money, hard earned, if you have worked for your money, hard earned, I mean, that's a whole different conversation, obviously. But I think a big thing, and this kind of speaks on behalf of Treasury, when we say that in the fiscal year 2010 budget plan, we are looking to increase the IRS's budget plan to ensure the fact that people, tax evaders, sorry, if you have earned your money just based on evading taxes, not paying your taxes, illegal tax actions, money laundering, that is what we want the IRS to crack down on. And in our current year of 2009, the IRS is severely underfunded, which is exactly why I am trying to work my hardest to increase that to increase the IRS's funding, most definitely, because I think that's a very important part of how we're going to get this financial recession uh, come diminished, really.
Okay, so right now I want to talk about the inflation going on in America right now. The inflation rate, year per year between 2009 and 2008 was 1.99%.
Mhm.
And the inflation rate is actually going up year per year, but I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, and also correlate with your minimum wage argument. So, when we raise the minimum wage to, I guess, and I added to Obama a couple of days ago, and kind of want to see how far we are with this. What dollar of the minimum wage are we looking at raising it to from where it is now?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah,
Technical
and I
difficulties.
wanna, and I have this Obama too. What are we trying to raise the minimum wage to?
Well, to be honest with you, that's something that I think. Well, okay. To start off, in summarization, federal minimum wage. What I believe in is, it's going to kind of sound weird coming out of my mouth, but what I believe in is the gradual process theory. Now, that theory involves the fact that, for instance, our federal minimum wage from $7.25, I do not believe in boosting that, for instance, to $15 because that is an extreme jump in money, obviously. However, that's
Right.
not me trying to say that I don't want more money given to the American people. Obviously, during a financial and economic recession, of course, we need to put money into the American people's hands, which is exactly what the ARRA does. Now, I believe in the gradual process of increasing the minimum wage. Now, what we're looking at right now, I can't necessarily comment 100% fully on it, but what the administration is looking at it right now is exactly my theory. Not theory, I'm sorry. My opinion on it. My advice to the president and to the entire cabinet on it is that we need to gradually increase the minimum wage. And when we get to a point where our national debt and inflation and deficit is at an all-time high, that's where we need to look at solutions for that. Which is why I believe that if we were to raise it to what 15 $16.25, we would see inflation take a horrible toll and be at an all-time high, maybe the highest in history based on what we have, which of course is something that we do not want to do. And that also involves national debt could triple if we were to do something like that. Now that's all, that's all an estimate of what I can say of what would happen if we increased it just right now, right this second, which is why I believe that we need to gradually increase it just based on what we can project will happen to the deficit, to the debt, both nationally and, of course, abroad. And also, I think, as you just said, inflation is something that we really got to watch out for here because one thing that's normally forgotten, one thing that I believe was completely disregarded by the Bush administration, well, there's a lot of things in terms of the economy that I think was inflation, was national debt, was deficit of the country, of the nation. I think that was severely disregarded by the Bush administration, and to send a message of I guess, hope to the American people, I can say with confidence that we are looking at every single aspect of, for instance, inflation, national debt, both foreign and abroad, and our national deficit to ensure the fact that these do not be at an all time high. Because during a financial and economic recession, that is the very last thing we want to happen.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. And you kind of bounced on what the Tea Party is talking about right now, which is great because we need somebody that kind of understands what's going on. So, with this national debt, are the plans that you're talking about, will it increase this national debt or will it try to lower this national debt price that we're seeing?
Well, in simple terms, when you have an expenditure of with the ARRA about 1.2 billion, I'm sorry, 1.2 trillion dollars, and then when you have an expenditure of 700 and I think $9 billion, there is obviously that takes a toll on our national debt. Now, that's something that we have looked into a lot, and what we can say right now is that's approximately, by the way, 1.9 trillion all combined together once these two bills, and that is an extreme expenditure out of the federal government. So what we can confirm is that basically, I'm saying that inflation will take a toll, and so will debt, our national debt, and so will deficit. They will take a toll, but what the long-term effects of these two bills are is that this will eventually steady out within the months and possibly a year to come. Now, obviously, with the subprime mortgage crisis being partly due to the fact that we're in this financial recession, that's something that we also need to look at. A lot of housing things, a lot of housing crises, obviously, with people declaring bankruptcy as well as small businesses specifically, because that's where a lot of unemployment is coming from. We simply just want to put money back into the American people's hands. That's definitely a message that we are trying to get across.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So, also, I want to talk about really that and so inflation. So, what I think, and I'm sure you probably understand this with your good knowledge of this, is when we raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, the inflation just skyrockets, right? We understand that, right? So,
And of course, yeah.
right. So
Hmm.
when we raise it to that high, it's just gonna skyrocket. It's gonna shoot up through the roof. Now, what that's also is
Hmm.
gonna do, and when I went to school as well, maybe you guys know this in real, but I went to school at the Harvard Business School for economics as well. But that's neither here nor there. But also when we raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, it actually would lower the buying power of someone that made 20 or even $25 an hour because of this. Correct. Now we understand that. Now, what will we do about the person that's buying power actually go down because we're raising the minimum wage? Let's just say I'm just saying a number here for $15 an hour, right?
Hmm.
15, and the person that makes the buying power of the person making $20 or even 25 up to would be lowered significantly because of that. What are your thoughts on that? And what could we do about that?
Well, I think that's something that we definitely need to take into consideration as well. And what another thing that is very big with these two bills, sorry to kind of fall back again on them, but another big thing with
Oh, it's
these
fine.
two bills is that simply, and speaking on behalf of the American Recovery Reinvestment Act, I mean, it's right in the name there, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Now, obviously, hypothetically, we raise the minimum wage to $16. Inflation skyrockets, our national debt and our deficit could be at an all-time high. That's
Correct.
something that we don't want to look at because, I guess I can say simply, we don't want to bankrupt the country. And of course,
Correct.
doing
Right.
something like that, I'm not saying that raising the minimum wage to $16 would bankrupt the country. But what I am saying is
If
that
you crunch, I mean, it would be very close, but
it would be
yes,
close, of
yeah,
course.
very close.
But what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to get the message across is based on my full knowledge of the economy and the parallels of it. What I'm trying to advise to the president and to the vice president, and of course to the entire administration, is that, again, that gradual process is going to be the thing that saves us. Because if we were to, for instance, raise it to 15 or $16, which again, it is ridiculous. Now, if Congress were to get that passed and now the minimum wage was $16.07, now you would be looking at worse effects for the country than what is happening right now. We are already in the middle of a financial and economic recession, but doing something like that, I'm not saying that it would be two times as worse, but I'm saying that things are going to get substantially worse if we were to raise the minimum wage as so high like that.
Exactly, and that is exactly what I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this conversation. Really enjoyed it. Now,
Hmm.
um, so I think we kind of understand that when we raise the minimum wage, that's just gonna skyrocket. We're close to bankruptcy. We're just okay. Things happen now. When we say gradually, and this is gonna be some of my final questions here. When we say
Hmm.
gradually, what do we mean by gradually? Like maybe like over time in years raising it, or kind of how do we do that?
The sort of a time frame is basically something else that I hope to very strongly advise and discuss with the administration, to the president directly, of course, as well, is that I believe that over the course of years is what we need to look at with the minimum wage. Because something that I think is a big issue within this country is that people want things done right there, right then. And to be honest with you, it is a lot more difficult than simply just saying it and then it's done, which is why we want to look at a gradual yearly process of trying to figure out solutions, projections, and estimates for how we can raise the minimum wage without our inflation, national debt, and of course deficit taking too much of a toll on that.
Okay, I think that's a great response to that, really. I'm gonna go ahead and point a question now. Mikey had a question for you, Thomas. Mike, go ahead and
Mhm.
ask that question.
Yeah. All right. So my question to you is, with all of the impeachment stuff going right now through the House, what would, if this impeachment did go through, how would this make a toll on your plan and like kind of the economy as a whole?
Well, to comment on the impeachment, um, to be honest with you, I'm not too educated on impeachment processes, but I can say with confidence that hypothetically, which I'm going to say right now, I very strongly doubt that something like impeachment is going to come. But what I'm trying to say is, if President Obama were to be impeached, if I'm not correct, Vice President Joe Biden would then assume the office of the presidency. And, one thing that can say personally about President Obama and Joe Biden is that they are two extremely good characters, two extremely good people, in my opinion, of course. But I know them personally, so I'm kind of going to be biased in that kind of thing. But one thing that I can say is that in terms of the economy, they do agree strongly. So if an impeachment process were to go through and President Obama impeached, I very strongly doubt that plans for the economy would be too severely altered because they do both agree pretty strongly in terms of how we can find these economic solutions.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Now, a question for you here is the question here. And before we move on to, I think we really gonna probably cap it off here as well before we move on to Dean or whatever or to
Of
the
course.
press conference. But I mean, what are your thoughts on and kind of with this impeachment thing? When we look at it historically, the economy, well, really the stock market and the economy has always been pretty bad during impeachments. I'll give you an example. During the 1999 impeachment trial of Bill Clinton, it was not the economy was not great. Well, I'm just speaking towards the stock market. And Wall Street was not great during the extended period of time during the impeachment trial. And hearings and committees. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think it'll have a similar effect on this now?
Well, I can't comment too much on the impeachment process. Obviously, being Secretary of the Treasury, I'm completely neutral in terms of politics, but
Yeah, I mean,
this is
yeah.
speaking towards the administration, of course. So again, President, hypothetically, I'm sorry for the hypotheticals, but hypothetically, President Obama gets impeached. Vice President Joe Biden, I believe, would assume the office of president. Again, highly doubtful, in my opinion, at least. Vice President Joe Biden assumes the office. Now, a president getting impeached, obviously, kind of contradicting myself here, but a president getting impeached, obviously, that doesn't have good effects on the stock market nor Wall Street, because then you have a vice president assuming office who, vice presidents aren't as well known as presidents. They even have different approval ratings. They do not have the same approval rating. And maybe you don't know Vice President Joe Biden as well as you would know President Obama. Now, Again, they agree strongly in terms of the economy and economic solutions. That is one very good thing about them. It kind of makes my job and my life a little bit easier. Um, but because so there's no argument there. They agree strongly, and a bunch of other topics as well. They agree strongly. Of course, they have disagreements, as well as I have disagreements, as well as the entire cabinet and administration has disagreements. But at the end of the day, President Obama is the president of the United States, so we respect his final decision. And we advise him as best as we possibly can. I mean, we took an oath on this, on the Bible, at least personally I did, that that we will advise the president to the best of our abilities, both foreign and domestic issues as well. So no matter what his final decision is, it all comes down to us respecting his final decision, and respecting his final decision, and also advising him best on that decision. Now, I can say that now things could get worse if an impeachment were to 100% go through. But I very strongly doubt that what we saw in 1999, because again, this financial recession, like the 2001 recession, which obviously wasn't as bad, but that's why it's less known. But the 2001 recession, obviously, that had significant tolls. But see, that's where I think that there's something flawed there. I think that experts, I think Treasury, I think Commerce back in 2001 did not look hard enough at the fact that that could happen
Yeah.
again. And in 1999, I'm going to be blunt when I'm saying this. That was predictable.
It was.
Bill
It really was.
Clinton's trial. I mean, of course the economy is going to go down, and it didn't go down in flames. It wasn't, as bad as it is now.
No, it's not.
But
It was very minor. Yeah.
it did take a significant toll,
It did.
and because of those impeachment trials and Wall Street and the stock market taking a toll, that's where you saw the 2001 recession. And because of that recession, you get the one that we have now, and partly due to the subprime mortgage crisis as well. But no, my
And another
answer to that
crisis we
is
see is predatory lending, and that's another thing we were seeing as well. But yeah, continue.
But yeah, no, I very strongly doubt that number one, President Obama gets impeached. Number two, that there would be much fluctuation within the economy based on the information and knowledge that I have come to the understanding of.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna come back. When we come back, we're gonna have our final thoughts on Smith. I know this has been an extended episode, a special hour edition episode tonight. So we do appreciate you guys watching. So coming up on Smith tonight, we're gonna have our final thoughts, and I do appreciate you coming on, Kurt. I would really like for this you to come on again, because as many of you know at home, the economy is my favorite topic. I like talking about the economy, especially now. I do like talking about the economy, what the economy is doing, and things like that. So I do like definitely talking about that. So thank you for coming on. We're gonna stay tuned. Yeah, thank you. Just stay on with us. We're gonna come back with final thoughts on this impeachment. The crazy Louis Democrats, Franklin Burke, and the rest of the gang, the Democratic Party in the House, coming up on Fox. Coming up next. And welcome back to Smith. Thank you all so much for watching the show this evening. We just got done with a really long and great fiscal conservative talk with the Secretary of the Treasury. I really enjoyed that conversation, of answering my questions. I mean, I think we agree. We agree on many, many things with the economy. We have really great minds think alike, same minds think alike, really. So great conversation, great guy to work with. I think that he's gonna do some great things. Now, I want to talk to Mike and I want to talk to Dean, that's on the phone, live from FCC headquarters in Washington. So let's talk about it. We're all in the FCC here. We've all been appointed. Actually, not all of us, but most of us here. So let's talk about the FCC. So the FCC really is going to be in place after this whole thing that happened with CBS and going to come to regulate networks. So what do you guys think about the FCC? What do you guys think about it? And what are your thoughts on it?
So I'll go ahead and get started.
Keep in mind, we have
Just
about 4
kind of-
minutes, so go ahead.
Okay, just kind of going over FCC's mission. We're going to be in charge of regulating all of the interstate and international communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable in all 50 states. We're going to be responsible for implementing and enforcing the America's communications laws and regulations of what you can or cannot say while on the air, per se. And I think I have Dean on the phone right here that's going to talk more about the
Right.
Xavier Crosby
And
situation.
with me being in
And
TV,
what?
and I know many of you saw my bio and things, I was raised in TV, I started at 21. I'm from Fort Worth, but I started at 21. I started working at Fox News in 1998. I was hired here as a political correspondent. I made my way up, worked my way up here at Fox. Many of you guys have known me and seen me for over, 10, 15 years. So, I have a family background, television, I think that, and I also have a background in satellite television and cable
Absolutely.
television. So I think that great background for all of us here. So go ahead, Dean.
Absolutely no. To be honest, your work that you've done is absolutely brilliant for news in this country.
Thanks.
One thing that I'm going to start off with is how complaints actually work in the FCC. So when we originally get a complaint from a person, whether it be a member of the public or the President of the United States, they are all treated exactly the same. Firstly, we speak with whoever's bureau that is. So if it's a political issue, we'll speak with the the chief of the governance and the governmental bureau. Or if it's about television, we'll do the same thing with the chief of that bureau. Once that has happened, it will then be forwarded to the commissioners if they deem it necessary, who will then have a meeting about it with myself, and we will then reach a unanimous vote on what should happen and what the effects of that will be. If we decide that we need to take someone's license, or if we decide that we might need to terminate anything, we will make sure that the public is fully informed about that. And that's something that I want to do about the Xavier Crosby situation, is I want the public to know that at the moment there's a few things that I cannot comment about because the FCC haven't fully convened about it. I want to say that if we think action should be taken, action will be taken, and the full force of the law that will be implied if we deem it necessary. The FCC, we don't have any political agenda or anything like that. And that's another reason to why we have multiple people we have 2 Democrats, we have 2 Republicans, we have 1 independent. And the FCC are just for them, because there were some people today who were saying that the FCC is going to be swayed by some people. The problem with that is that that's physically impossible, because if you have 2 Republicans, you have 2 Democrats, and it's like if the Republicans decide to just try and ruin everything, which I hope they won't, same with a Democrat, obviously that can be rebutted, just like in the House. So with the ongoing situation, I think nothing should be said wrong about anyone's family, whether it be the first family or whether it be my own family. I think I think anything like that that is said on air should be treated with accordingly, and I don't think anyone else, and I want to hear what anyone else has to say about that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Mikey?
Yeah. So, can you repeat the question? Sorry about that.
Just
What you
about,
want to know my thoughts on?
so, the fact that the way it was the president's family was spoken about. I don't think anyone's family
Correct.
should be spoken about on air or to be honest, anyone's family should be spoken about at all. I think this is nothing that I keep on emphasizing. I don't care if it's the president. I don't care if it's like a person who doesn't even have a house. I think what has happened, which I find, which has to an extent distressed the Obama family,
Yeah.
and I do believe that should be treated with accordingly.
Yeah, and I've if you don't know, I am the White House Communications Director. I'm not saying this as to like I'm all for the president. No, none of that. None of that will sway me. But I do think, though, the president's family and the president himself have really been latching on to this, and it's kind of taken a toll on their family as a whole.
100%.
And so I think, as the FCC, we have the duty and the responsibility to make sure that these types of things don't happen and that we have a peaceful America as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Yep, definitely. So, I believe that's all I have for the FCC. Anybody got some final thoughts on that?
I just want to emphasize the fact that if you wish to contact the FCC, we now have an email, which is just fcc.ap.gov@outlook.com. So if anyone has any complaints or questions for the FCC, please email us. It will help a lot.
Yeah, and also our Discord, we're currently working on that. Once that is out, we will release it, and we'll get a Twitter started probably.
We have one actually now. I
All
started
right,
one earlier.
and so you can follow us on there, and a website will also be out to give all of you all the communication platforms to reach out to the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. That's going to be it for us here tonight on Smith. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all for watching
Take
Fox
care.
News this evening. Thank you
Thank
all for
you.
coming on the show. We will have more tomorrow on Fox and Friends. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening.